the Sneaker Talk podcast. We are here at the Solano Community College TV studio where I'm your host for today. My name is Josh Malika. Alongside are my group mates. We have Jared Burkhead, Emmanuel Blue, and Ryan Earp. And today we will be talking about sneakers. First things first are new releases. Second are most popular, best-selling, and even most overrated shoes that we're going to be talking about here. So we're going to have a little bit of a debate here later on. And then lastly are some effects of sneakers on music and pop culture. Yeah, let's get started.
Well, I did some research, and according to Sneaker News by Matt Varga in 2026, they stated that the new releases that are coming this month are going to be the Air Jordan 14 University Blue / Black. And I think this is really cool because the Jordan 14 by itself is a NASCAR-inspired shoe, and it's putting it into that kind of theme and colorway is going to make it a super easy buy and a really nice collectible shoe. The second shoe I want to talk about is going to be the Lego Croc collab.
Oh.
I think this Croc collab is awesome just because it takes two companies known for being creative and resourceful and combining them and in turn making an item that is both useful and collectible. And my favorite and the last shoe I want to talk about today is going to be the Nike Air Jordan 1 Floral Swoosh, which is a spring-inspired shoe that is going to be priced around $165. And I think it's cool because aesthetically it's closer to a sneaker rather than a basketball shoe. Do you guys have any basketball shoes you'd like to talk about today?
Before we jump into conclusion though, I just want to go back to that second sneaker that you said. You said Lego and Crocs.
Yes.
They'll collaborate.
Yeah.
What would that look like for you, like in your own perspective? Like, can you guys like imagine, like right now? I'm not judging.
I'm thinking like
How would that collab would do?
like Lego design on it. Maybe?
Yeah, Lego design
Maybe?
and
I'm thinking like an actual like Lego block, and like you're just sticking your foot in like a Lego block. That's what I'm thinking.
I can see it. I'm thinking that you just like, there's a bunch of holes, but the places that are not the holes, you can just put Legos on them.
Oh,
Okay.
you know
I'm
what,
thinking it's gonna be yellow, red.
That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
It makes
okay.
sense.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, because like you guys, I mean, who has Crocs?
I
here?
got Crocs.
I do.
Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, because you have the little
Holes.
is that what they're called?
The little
Yeah,
giblets.
Yeah, the
Little-
giblets.
you
thing.
stick
Giblets,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. No,
So
yeah.
I that makes sense the way you
Okay.
explained that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, my turn. The first shoe I want to talk about
Yeah.
is the Virgil Abloh Archive in Jordan 1 Alaska. Per the article published by Joyce Lee on Hypebeast.com on February 22nd, 2026, the Virgil Abloh Archive and Jordan brand coming back together to release the Alaska colorway of the Jordan 1. This shoe was originally released back in 2018 as a European exclusive. So now this is the first time that this shoe is being released in the States, and this shoe has sold out because as the shoe just released this past weekend, and there was lines wrapped around the streets. I personally even like entered in like 10 raffles, struck out on all of them. This shoe, like seriously, was like, because of Virgil Abloh, he was like the creator of Off-White. He was also the creative director of Louis Vuitton for a time period.
Yeah.
So he's had his hands in like a little bit of everything when it comes to sneakers, streetwear, and fashion design. Unfortunately, he passed away due to cancer, I want to say a couple years ago.
Right.
So anything that has his name attached to it is gonna be like sell out instantly because of the legacy he's left, and everybody knows that anything connected to him, you want to have it because it's like special, you know, that gives that feeling. So I personally, like I said, I was going after the shoe. I struck out. Looking online right now, my size right now on the secondary market, $700. When the shoe released, it was like at $200. So you could tell like this is a coveted shoe. So that's why I have this as my number one shoe for sneaker releases. Going into my second sneaker is the Nigel Sylvester Jordan 4, brick after brick, fire red in the fire red colorway. This is the second collaboration between Nigel Sylvester and Jordan brand. The inspiration behind the sneaker is the red curbs and the bricks that Nigel would ride his bike over in his hometown. Per Complex.com, the article written by Victor Dang on March 3rd, 2026, these shoes are expected to release May 9th, and I expect these shoes to sell out.
Oh yeah.
as his first shoe did. These shoes, Jordan 4 is already popular silhouette of the Jordans, and you put a fire red colorway, which is one of the original colorways from the original Jordans that released them back in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
It's an instant, perfect marriage, instant sellout for me. And then going into my third sneaker is a collaboration between Larry June, a popular Bay Area rapper, and Adidas. The silhouette of the sneaker is the Rod Laver, which is typically a low-key kind of sneaker, casual, not much going on with the shoe. But with this sneaker, it mixes animal prints and vibrant colors to make the sneaker pop and give it some life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, it being attached to Larry June, I think this will also sell out.
No, what I'm really interested about those shoes that you just mentioned
Yeah.
is the second one, the collaboration between Jordan and you said Nigel.
Sylvester.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's gonna sell out like whenever it releases.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
I agree. Like I said, his first shoe sold out instantly. You can still find on the secondary market, like StockX or something like that. You can find pairs depending on your size,
Mm-hmm.
$800. So it's definitely a popular shoe, and it'll definitely sell out.
Well, the Off-White too. We were talking about before the show that the Off-Whites, they kind of always have been expensive.
Yeah,
and
As always, yeah.
the one that I've always wanted, but I mean, a man can only dream about those shoes, is the Off-White, the ones that the Back to the Future shoes. I believe
okay.
those were Off-White.
Yeah.
Because they made, I don't know, they revamped them, they brought them back, and I remember they were only available online.
Yeah, they're
Right.
only limited.
And there was only a limited amount. And then I remember when they were really popular and people were trying to buy them.
Yeah.
You go on eBay and it'd be selling for the price of a car.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Yeah.
There was only a few available in the United States at a time, and they just I don't know why they didn't continue releasing them, because they were really popular.
Yeah.
But I think probably just making them was really hard. The fact
Yeah.
that it was Off-White. Off-White anything sells for a lot,
Exactly.
especially now that he passed.
Right.
Everything's just gonna,
Oh, there you go. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because of its fame, and
Yeah.
then they just decided to retire the shoes.
Right.
yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
I'm
that
just
could be
guessing.
too. I wouldn't be surprised if they do one or the other, if they
Right.
start pushing a lot of the product, or if they kind of just hold back on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, my top 3 sneakers of all time, 2 of them are gonna be Jordans, and then one of them is gonna be Under Armour, and it's gonna be a Curry. I know a lot might be surprised by that, but yeah, I love Steph Curry. I grew up watching him.
Yeah, definitely.
My all-time favorite is the Air Jordan 1, specifically the Chicago's. The Chicago's, for me, are my favorite. I have a pair. They revamped them a few years ago. I managed to get a pair. I don't know how. But they dropped in 1985, and there's actually a cool story behind it. So it wasn't those specific shoes that Jordan was wearing on the court, but it was the Airships that he was wearing. And they got banned on the court at all NBA games because they didn't have enough white in them. And so it's kind of a funny story. So Nike, because I believe they owned the shoes at the time, right? That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
And so every time he wore them on the floor, he was getting fined. And the NBA was like, you could wear them. We're not gonna we're not gonna be like, oh, you can't play at all.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna fine you every time. And so Nike stepped in, which is crazy to think that they would do that especially back in the day, because they weren't I mean, I'm sure they were $1 billion business at the time, but especially back then, a lot of these companies were not as big as they are now. So for them to do that, to step out of their way, and they basically were like, hey, we'll pay the fine every time, just keep wearing those shoes. So that's basically what they did.
Yeah.
And then they made the Air Jordan 1 Chicago's, which is what he wore, became his signature shoe. And ever since then, they've been the #1 selling shoe as far as the Air Jordans in the world ever since then. Especially going into the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, and up until now. I mean, they go for a lot. They're not as expensive as this next shoe I'm about to get into, but they, as far as Air Jordans, they're probably the most expensive. So going into my second shoe is gonna have to be the Air Jordan 11s, the Concords. Growing up, I had a pair. Well, I had two pairs. The black and whites were my favorite. I always tried to get the reds, but those were impossible to get, and they are still impossible to get nowadays. For some reason, anyone that managed to have the red ones, which I can't even remember any of my friends in high school having any of them. A lot of people had the most popular one was the blue one, which I think is at least maybe it wasn't the most popular one, but that was the one that I saw a lot of people wearing. Was the all blue one. They had the high tops and then the low tops. So for me, the black and white was my thing. It just matched with everything, and I had my first pair of those was in middle school. Wore it all through middle school into early high school, and then I got a second pair and I wore that. I still have them today. And then my third one, which this is gonna shock a lot of people, is the Under Armour Curry 4s. Those were my all-time favorite as far as like Steph Curry shoes from Under Armour. Those are the only Under Armour shoes I've ever owned, outside of like baseball cleats. But those are like complete. I guess those could technically be shoes, but I don't like throw them in the same category as like what I would wear every day. So a cool story about those. So I had 3 pairs. 2 of them I played basketball in. One of them, which is actually the first colorway that he debuted. He debuted them game 1 of the 2017 NBA Finals, which is actually like a perfect time to debut a new pair of shoes, in my opinion, because that was the first year that they had Kevin Durant. That was the first year that they kind of, I mean, they won in 2015, but obviously they, lost in 2016. But then they were like, okay, let's just go out and get Kevin Durant, and we'll just be the best team of the 2010s, which is literally what they became. And then obviously they went on and signed DeMarcus Cousins, and just, they looked like a freaking super team. They were a super team. But yeah, he debuted these shoes, and they were the white and gold ones. They were like a high top ones for the people that don't really know about those Currys. The first 3 shoes that he released were not popular at all. In fact, they were so bad in sales that people were just like making fun of them online. Like no one was buying them. You could find them everywhere because like no one was. They were not selling. So he dropped these, and then it became. I think that year it became the #1 selling basketball shoe in the world. So those are going to be my 3 favorite of all time.
Yeah, before we get into my top 3, I want to go back to that Curry 4s because I just remembered that up until now I'm still looking for Curry 4 shoes, specifically the More Dimes colorway. So it's a black and white colorway, and it's pretty much dominant black, and then the midsole is white. And up until now, I'm still looking for one. So to the viewers, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know, because up until now I'm still looking to buy a Curry 4 More Dimes colorway.
Well, I mean, he's not signed to Under Armour anymore.
Yeah, so it might be even harder for you.
Yeah, it might be a used one. I'd still buy them. Yeah. But anyway, let's jump into my top 3. So I'm gonna be beginning first with my 3, and then we will be climbing up to number 1. So for my first one would be an Air Jordan 1 High OG. So this is a women's shoes, and they call it the Psychic Blue, and I don't know why, but that's the colorway. So its color is a pale ivory Psychic Blue coconut milk, and that's basically the midsole of it, according to Sneaker Files, written by Brian Betschart in February 28th of this year. And if you guys don't know what Sneaker Files is, it's the #1 online magazine that specializes in sneaker news and release dates. So if you're really into sneakers, this is the right website for you. And and according to Jordan Brand, they will be releasing multiple women exclusive shoes or sneakers this spring of this year. And going to my number 2 would be also a Jordan, but a basketball shoes known as the Jordan Luka 5 Lakers colorway. So it was released on March 5th, 2026. So a couple of days way before the Air Jordan 1 that I mentioned earlier here. So the colorway highlights a white and atomic violet and wild berry. So, and then the sole is obviously a gold because, like I said, the colorway is Lakers. And we all know that Luka Doncic is in his 2nd season with the Los Angeles Lakers. And we also know, or for those who doesn't know, that last year, February 2, the most shocking trade in NBA history happened when obviously the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, and ever since then, he's been really having an impact for the team. Whereas currently he's the leading scorer in the NBA,
Yeah.
and now they decided to make Luka Doncic fifth signature shoes a Lakers colorway. Just
Isn't he out for the year? I know it's a little
out of the regular season, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the same time with Austin
come
Reeves.
back.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back to this shoes, like we mentioned, it's like a not really to say tribute, but it highlights him being a Laker,
Right.
right? Because like I said, he's been having a lot of impact for the team. But yeah, sadly he is out for the remainder of the regular season due to that. Was it a hamstring pull?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's
you-
it's the same injury I think as Austin Reeves.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think so.
Do you think the shoes played a part?
Oh,
In
That's
his
a
injury?
good one. It's a good one. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, it just so happened like recently the injury of Luka when they play who did they play? Raptors?
Possibly.
Yeah. And then for my number one, the Thunder. Thunder.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember they were playing SGA that time. And then for my number one is the Nike Giannis Freak 7 laser orange colorway. So this highlights a black and laser orange, and that's Vault Bright Crimson. That's the dominant color of this shoes. And this was released March 1st of this year. And we all know at that time it was the All-Star Weekend. And we also know that Giannis, during the All-Star Weekend, he was sidelined due to a self-diagnosed calf injury,
yeah.
which we don't know that it was really true or because a lot of people are also
Well, yeah,
asking.
there's like a investigation going on.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I don't know if it's specifically about that when he was hurt, but they're doing like the NBA is doing a self-investigation into it. So
Yeah,
I don't know
that one.
what. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever like really find out what's going on, but yeah, it's kind of like a controversial thing going on right now.
So even if he didn't play during the All-Star Weekend, he was still making an impression for
Yeah, yeah.
himself, especially for his signature shoes, his seventh
Right.
signature shoes. And also, this focuses on performance as much as style, according to Nike, because this colorway or this Freak 7, they said that helps athletes maintain control during high-speed transition. So if you're an athletic player, especially if you're an athletic basketball player, there's a type of shoes that's perfect fit for you.
Yeah.
And now we've talked about the new releases based on our research things. Now let's jump into our next segment, which is best-selling shoes, most popular, and of course, most overrated.
Well, I did some research, and according to the Alibaba Smart Buy app from Alibaba Group in 2025 or 2026, they said the best-selling shoes of 2024 are in first place the Nike Air Force One. In second place, we have the Adidas Stan Smiths. In third place, we're gonna have the New Balance 550s. In fourth, already contributed to it, 5 pairs of Nike Dunks. And in last place, we have the Tiger Mexico 66s. And I recently learned, after more research, that Nike's best-selling shoe of 2026 so far is their running shoe, the Nike Pegasus, which, after learning this information, this contradicts the direct opinion that I've heard online that Nike's top-selling shoes are their basketball shoes. But in reality, it's just their comfort sports shoes. What do you guys have to say about that?
Well, kind of talk about when you're talking about the running shoes and stuff. Nike was known for they were a running shoe
Shoes,
company
yeah,
first
yeah.
before they were basketball. So, but a lot of people that aren't like into sneakers and stuff, you would think, oh, why it's not basketball? Like basketball shoes, they make so many now. But I have like I don't know what they're called, but the black and white Nike, they're like a mixed with like a track shoe and a running shoe. I wear those to like go to the gym, but like also to walk around in, and like I've gone to like sports games and like stuff. So I think it makes sense why like they're more popular than like basketball shoes, because you can kind of do anything in them.
Yeah.
So but like for me, when I look at the top 10 basketball shoes, I'm gonna kind of dive into basketball. Of all time, the number one is the Nike Kobe 6s, the Protros, which those are a really good shoe. A lot of people like, there's a debate sometimes online, over the years, but people have said like that's the best basketball shoe of all time, which is like crazy because I love Kobe, and Kobe like has been he's my favorite basketball player that wasn't on the Warriors. I wish he came to the Warriors, but he was gonna be a Laker for life. There was no
100%.
way he was gonna go anywhere
20
else.
years, man.
But some of his shoes, as a matter of fact, like a lot of his early career, like the shoes that he made and stuff, was very controversial.
Mm.
They were not like good shoes at all. He did not have good looking shoes at all early in his career, and it didn't like towards the end of his career, and then when he retired, that's when his shoes got better, which is like kind of weird to me because he has 4 shoes in the top 10 basketball shoes of all time. But then, talking about, speaking of some of the worst basketball shoes of all time, you might know this. We were talking about it before the thing. Dada, they're not even a company anymore. They were not around for a very long time.
Yeah.
But one of their most controversial shoes of all time was the Spinners 2004, which a lot of people might not know, but they had a literal rim on the side of the shoe that you could spin, and those were not around very long. And Dada also released, kind of to dive into their company a little bit, they
Wait, who was that player that you mentioned?
So
that had that signature shoe.
So fun fact, I don't know if you guys know, Latrell Sprewell, he came out with like these rims that spun as you drove down the road and then you stopped. The rims would keep spinning. So those were named after him, Sprewells. They call them Sprewells. So actually, I think Latrell Sprewell was also a player that wore Dadas. Yeah. So they used the concept of the spinning rims and put it on the shoe. And Chris Webber, the former player for the Kings and a whole bunch of other teams. Those were his signature shoes. He wore them on court for like a season or two. Yeah,
but they were like, Dada made basketball shoes because at the time Jordan, like going from the 90s into the early 2000s, Jordan was so popular, but they also were like really expensive. Like $100 for a basketball shoe back in the day was a lot of money. Like your normal person was probably not buying those. So Dada made really bad shoes, but like bad looking shoes, but they were affordable, which is what made them so popular. But they didn't last long because people found out that like they're corny, with the spinning rims. Like we've never seen anything before that or after that. So, but yeah, that's, I would say that's probably my most, I'm not even gonna say it's overrated. It's the worst shoe of all time.
Hey, imagine if that shoe still exists until to this day, especially that we have the media.
Right.
Just imagine.
Oh yeah,
how people will roast that.
Yeah, you can look it up. Like there's memes about it.
No, 100%. Yeah, it'd almost be on the level of like, like you were saying about like the Curry's like early shoes, like how people were roasting, like they said they look like dad shoes, and people were like roasting those, like people were cutting grass in them because they were like horrible looking shoes.
Grass cutters.
That's exactly the grass cutters. But okay, well, going into my shoes.
Yeah.
So for my most popular sneaker for 2025, the Brick by Brick Air Jordan 4s by Nigel Sylvester and Jordan Brand were voted across many sneaker blogs as the best sneaker of the year. So these all clay red Jordan 4s were premium, like the suede and all the materials. This shoe was amazing. Literally, these shoes sold out everywhere. And just looking on StockX on the secondary market, for my size, these shoes are going for $700.
Wow.
A year later, like these shoes are still super hyped, super priced, like inflated. So yeah, that just shows you how like popular these shoes were, even still a year later, still to this day. Like, so that's my sneaker, best-selling sneaker of 2025. Now going into my controversial take, my most overrated sneaker is the Nike Panda Dunks.
Not overrated. That's not a hot take, dog.
I'm sure if you don't have one, you probably know somebody that has them. And
Everybody has one.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a lot of cousins who have
Yeah,
Panda Dunks.
yeah. Like my wife has them. Like my cousins got them.
They're like the Shaqs.
Basically,
Like,
yeah.
they're the modern
Okay,
day Shaqs.
that's a good
Yeah.
pull. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good comparison.
Like Nike, like emptied the vault for these shoes. They pumped them out, made sure everybody and their mom got a pair of these shoes. I mean, hey, it's a plain black and white shoe, so I get it. It's an easy shoe to wear. It goes with everything. Dunks are comfortable enough, so I get it. But yeah, no, this is the most overrated shoe out there.
I remember a time that Nike Dunks Pandas were like $400 in StockX.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean now they're like, boy, you say they're like 50
$50.
bucks.
You could go to Ross or Marshalls and find them.
Exactly, Walmart, Ross, or
Yeah.
all the way at the back of the clearance section.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
It's crazy how it's falling.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy too because you see like if you watch like the way that the shoes go up and then they come down and
Yeah.
sale,
Mhm.
like those were way up here
Yeah.
for like so long for some reason and then eventually they just dropped in value because
Yeah.
you can find them everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean I bet you go in Walmart you probably find them.
Yeah.
Like,
It's crazy how the mighty has fallen.
I also feel like there's gonna be a lot of replicas since that shoe's value went down. Of course, there's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of people who
Oh,
will take
yeah.
advantage and
Mhm.
create replicas of
Yeah.
it, or even Class A's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I found a Nike Dunk or Nike Panda Dunk in a swamp once.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but going back to your most popular shoes earlier, you said that there's this Adidas Stan Smith from Adidas, and then Nike's was it
Air Force
One?
One.
So that just made me think that the rivalry between Nike and Adidas is still a thing.
Yeah.
You know, with Stan Smith and then the Air Force
Yeah.
One still at the top.
Yeah, New Balance is up there too. They're top 3.
Oh, New Balance
Yeah.
too.
At
Yeah.
550s.
they got Kawhi Leonard signed to there.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And they also
kinda-
got Shohei Otani. One.
Yeah, Shohei too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking
I
of,
actually,
yeah.
speaking of Shohei, I
Mhm.
literally have his. Well, he made 2 shoes, but they were basically the same thing. So he has. I don't have the Dodger colorway, obviously. That's gonna make,
Rightfully so.
but I have the angel, the white,
okay.
which
Oh,
was
okay, the
actually
Angels.
it's not the Angels colors, but it's the white and the gold.
Yeah.
They're the turf shoes.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys have seen those, but they have on the back, like on the tongue of the shoe, they have Shohei swinging a bat.
Oh, that's
which I think
awesome.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure you guys have seen the commercials
Yeah.
for New
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, growing up, I did not see a single New Balance commercial until
No.
like just the last few years.
Yeah.
Little
It was
Shohei
always
thing.
Nike, Gatorade, not even Jordan.
Well, actually, Jordan did have commercials. So going back probably
Oh, I guess
before
you-
our time, like the
yeah.
Spike Lee, like they had like, you know, I actually wrote an essay on this. So Spike Lee and Jordan, like in the '90s, they had his commercials like where Jordan was wearing the Jordan 4s, and Spike Lee created a character called Mars Blackman to help sell the shoe, and yeah, ever since then, like Jordan's took off in pop culture.
Right.
Yeah, I
Like,
guess Jordan doesn't really need it. I guess they don't really need commercials anymore
Nah.
because it's like self-proclaimed. at this
Basically,
point.
it
Like,
sells
you know.
themselves.
Yeah.
Speaking of commercials, what happened to 5 Gum? I think it's been like
That-
8
yeah,
years since I've
that's-
seen a commercial from them.
I don't know. I have no idea as well. But yeah, speaking of Jordans and most overrated shoes, so I got one from the publisher's name Athlon Sports, and it was written by Kenneth Brown. Just last year, though, he said that the most overrated Jordan sneaker of all time would be the Air Jordan 4 Black Cats colorway. And I get it that I looked at the shoe and also made a research about it, and the shoes really it's really a dominant color black shoes, which looks like an elementary shoes, and there are a lot of people who are roasting it online saying, so because this shoe was way back in the 80s. Like we also mentioned earlier the Air Jordan shoes in '89. These shoes go way back in the 80s, and then a lot of people are roasting, hey, why are we bringing back this shoes to this point, which kind of really looks like an elementary shoes. And yeah, it received a lot of backlash, and as well as there are also people that of course love the shoes, whether they love or hate Michael Jordan, but they've been hyping the shoes online, whatever social media platform they use. But in my own perspective, this sneakers is I wouldn't say this is overrated, but I would say it's much more overhyped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the style is not that good.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why are people like really hyping it up if the style is really not good? But yeah, I wouldn't say that this is overrated, but much more overhyped sneaker.
Well, it's kind of like the Costco's.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you talk about that overhyped. Like, I'm kind of like trying to bring it to like modern terms. Like that recently was something that
Yeah.
went viral, and like when you look at the shoe, you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why did people line up for this?
Yeah.
And why did it get so bad that Costco eventually was like, nah, you got to be a member.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
To
Hey.
speak on the Costco dunk that Ryan was talking about, it was just a simple like all gray like Nike SB dunk. Just like the material is almost like a gray hoodie, like a hoodie material, like a fleece material, all gray, just plain sneaker. But it had like the little insignia Kirkland on the side of the shoe. That's
Yeah.
it. And everybody went crazy.
Costco made,
like
yeah.
Costco mania. Like people were camping out like in lines for like hours for this shoe. And they only released at like a few Costco's like across the U.S. But a plain basic shoe, much like the Black Cats, just a simple, single colored shoe all over. But you know, I guess the hype will make people buy it. You know.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. For my top sneakers, like the most popular, I would say, this is according to Women's Wear Daily. It was written last year, December, by Riley Jones. She said that the Air Jordan 11 Retro Gamma is the top selling shoes of 2025, which this shoe's kind of originally released in 2013. And this is the first time ever that the Air Jordan 11 Retro Gamma colorway has taken the top spot of the rankings of sneakers of 2025. And then for Nike, though, they also have their own version, of course, of top shoes most popular. And they said that when you said Kobe was not really famous for shoes, but here in 2025, they said that the Kobe 8 Pro What the colorway made it to the top one of
Yeah.
Nike
Oh, wow.
in 2025.
Yeah.
That's basically
Yeah, I
according to
mean,
them.
kind of like I was saying earlier, like a lot of his shoes got popular. I mean, obviously, after he passed
Right.
in 2020, everything got went up, like, which is like crazy because, and specifically like talking about the shoes, like I always wanted a jersey from him, and you can't find a jersey anymore
Yeah.
from him. It's, I mean, you have to go on like resale and stuff
Yeah.
and find it, but the shoes like went up during that era. Like all of his shoes, even the shoes that are considered like some of the worst shoes of all time. Like there was the box version shoes, which he wore. I don't remember which year it was, but it was specifically made for All-Star Weekend, I believe, and it didn't have any laces. You just stuck your foot in it. And
Okay.
it was
Like a slip-on?
It looked like a box. Like,
Yeah,
it really
so-
looked like a box.
I know what you're talking about. Those are so when Kobe came into the league,
Yeah.
he signed to Adidas. So he had two shoes with Adidas, and I know those are like the Kobe 2s that he
Yeah.
had. That look, it was actually styled after I think an Audi TT, the car. So it looked like the car, but literally there was no laces. You just stuck your foot in the shoe. But those looked horrible on feet. Like it looked like loaves of bread.
It
Like
looked
metallic,
so bad.
silver
Yeah, I
metallic
mean,
loaves of
why
bread.
would someone wear that and playing basketball on hardwood basketball court?
I mean, he was always like, the thing about him that made him so cool was he was always open to a lot of things. Like he was very creative in everything, especially his brand, like Mamba mentality, like that stuff like that. Like, and he, but kind of going back to what I was saying, like after he passed, all of his shoes shot up in value, and they're just now kind of coming down, but it's still very hard to find those shoes nowadays.
Well, first when he passed away in 2020, yeah. I think Nike stopped selling all
Yeah.
Kobe shoes, like not even the Mamba Instinct that I once, no, I still have it in my possession, even though the sole has gone off, but I still keep it though.
Yeah.
So it's called the Mamba Instinct, where I purchased in July 4th of 2019. I still, it's been like 7 years now. I still have them. But yeah, going back to every time I go to a Nike store, especially one in Vacaville, never seen any Kobe shoes. Recently, I've seen one, which is the Kobe 9 Inspiration colorway, which is, guess what, $280.
Yeah.
And now the next time I went back to Nike, they don't have it anymore.
Of course.
It's either someone bought it, or they just stopped selling once again.
Yeah.
Kobe shoes. So yeah, a lot of Kobe shoes nowadays can be said as limited
Yeah.
shoes.
Definitely.
And now we've discussed our most popular and best selling, and of course some of the most overrated sneakers. Let's now jump into our last segment, which is the effect of sneakers in music and pop culture.
Well, according to Alamo Shoes on the street style effects on sneaker culture in 2023, they stated that sneakers' ability to mix with other type of IPs and influencers is its main entrance into every other, well, what's the word for it? Every other type of culture, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like, for example, for like music and artists, they gave Lil Nas X a shoe. They gave Virgil a shoe. And those people just have a following. And they see that shoe, they want to buy it. It's like the Costco shoe. If they see a brand, they want it. And that gives Nike this credibility in a way.
Yeah.
What do you guys have to think about that?
So to kind of go off of that, now I'm gonna shift into like the kind of like the cultural music side of it. So one of the first like big things like to really talk like first like groups to ever like speak about like a sneaker was Run DMC back in the 80s. They had a song called My Adidas, and in that music video they were seen rocking Adidas shell toes. This I think was the first time ever on a song, especially like a rap song, where it was about a shoe, and this was obviously popular. This blew like the sneaker up in the 80s. So like later you could probably go back and like look, every kid wanted Adidas shell toes to be like Run DMC because like they brought the shoe to masses. They were the first ones to use a song to like promote like a shoe. And then this goes in like later down the line. You have Nelly. I don't know if you guys know Nelly. He's a rapper from back in the day. He had a song called Air Force Ones. So like the shoe, like he put the song out, goes crazy. Like everybody wanted Air Force Ones. I know I had like 3 pairs after the song. Like as a kid, like that was one of my favorite things. Like my favorite sneakers back then. And kind of you mentioned about the Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
Earlier.
Yeah.
Fun fact. So in Back to the Future 2, Marty McFly was seen wearing the Nike Air Mags. So these are the shoes that were futuristic and like the self-lacing shoes, like, you know, so, and they actually brought these shoes back out. Very limited. It was actually sold at a at auction to raise money for, I forget what foundation, but they were sold, the proceeds went to like a good cause. And that's how people got the shoe originally.
Don't they go for like $100,000? I
Yeah,
swear I saw
yeah,
for like
they did.
$100,000.
Initially they did.
Because they're the self-tying ones, and so basically like I don't remember which basketball player it was that actually tried them on, but when he put his foot in it, they're self-tying,
Yeah.
so they just everything tightened like right when he put his foot in it. It's like a sensor or something.
Yeah.
But they also light up too.
Yeah,
So-
definitely. So that was cool because like this is the first time like people were actually able to buy the shoe that was seen in the movie. Because obviously the movie was like, it was a prop, you know, this wasn't made for mass production, but these were the first time people had ever been able to buy these shoes. So those were like a crazy, like iconic shoe from a movie. And then going into Michael Jordan and Spike Lee working together, you know, like that was a match made in heaven. I don't know Spike Lee, if you guys know, but Spike Lee is a famous
Was
movie
this
director.
in New York?
I'm not sure.
He's the
honestly.
famous Knicks fan.
Yeah, so he's
that's who I know
so
him
Spike
for.
Lee is from New York, but I don't know if they shot like the commercials for Nike in New York. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But Spike Lee worked with Michael Jordan early on to like bring the Air Jordan line to the masses, and like I said, it worked obviously because Jordans sold out. Everybody wanted them. Everybody wanted to be like Mike, like based on these commercials. And then also, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Travis Scott famous
Yeah.
rapper. Like all his shoes sell out. Like his Air Jordans resell for tons of money. Like you can't find them under retail or at retail. Like his Jordan 1, the Mochas, his first Jordan collab sold out instantly, and I remember trying to get a pair. It was gonna cost me like $800.
That's the only reason I tried to buy this shoe. Is because it resembles
Yes.
Travis Scott Jordan 1
Yes.
so directly.
Yes. And if you throw like some pink laces in there, it'll look just like them. Yes.
Well, kind of going off of what about the Travis Scott.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's out yet, but he has Air Jordan 1 Low OG Velvet Browns that are supposed to come out this year. It says early 2026, so I don't know. I mean, we're still early.
Yeah.
So, but he already had ones come out a few years ago that were really, really popular, and they were very hard to come by.
Yeah.
But also kind of talking about like basing off of like the pop culture and stuff, like the modern days, I always kind of go back to like the early 2000s because that's when like some of the most awful rapper shoe deals ever happened. And I know like we're kind of past that segment, but this really like affected pop culture because it was like it was the first time where you had like celebrity icons, rappers, specifically rappers, because you didn't really have pop artists like making shoes. You still like nowadays you don't really have that anymore. But when you were talking about the Nellies, Reeboks, because of his song Air Force Ones, and those were like considered I think they of course I wasn't like I was little back then, but they were considered like really unstylish at one point, which, and then one of the other things too, which was 50 Cent was the G units, and those were like everywhere. Those kind of became like the dad shoes of the early 2000s in a way because they were so easy to get, but also too like if you looked them up, they were not very like good looking at all.
I'm not gonna lie, I had a pair.
I feel like they were kind of like, if I was to compare them to like a modern day like shoe that's everywhere, I'd compare them to Pandas easily. Yeah, because those shoes were everywhere.
You can say that, yeah.
Nowadays, Nike's total Air Force One sold is 1.12 billion now.
And those went up. Those I remember those were like $90, and now they're 130.
Yeah.
So,
well, back in the day when I was like a kid, they were like $80.
Yeah, I mean,
which is already expensive that day.
Yeah. I mean, in like the early 2000s, $80, yeah, it was kind of expensive.
That'd be like $100 today.
Like, yeah, depending on which ones you get, yeah.
And speaking of those big name rappers that you guys mentioned, we have Travis Scott, we have 50 Cent, we also have Kanye West, who signed a deal with Adidas.
Yeezys.
He had the Yeezys.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then he got his deal with Adidas, cut his deals with Kanye West because of his issues.
Yeah.
With when he commented about the anti-Semitic
his
remarks, and then Adidas had to, of course.
I'm not gonna lie, I still have
a
Yeezys nowadays.
Yeah, I have a couple
I just don't really wear them, but I remember when
I mean,
the
they're
Yeezy,
good shoes. I like the style.
They're comfortable.
I remember when the Yeezy 350 Boosts came out, and you were considered. I was like right in the heart of high school when that happened, and I got the all blacks like the first week, and it was funny because I wore them to school, and I wasn't like, I've never really been like a shoe head, but I really love those shoes. Like a lot of people were like wearing them, and they had the white ones, which those ones were impossible to get, but I wore them to school, and I remember like people were like, those are fake. It was the first week that they came out, and I was like, just because like I'm the only one that has them. And then like I literally was like, I remember like I'd take my shoe off and I'd be like, look, it's literally not fake. Was it the 800 or something? Like 805 or 305 or whatever it was
350s.
On the bottom, 350s. I literally would have to show them the tag, and they'd be like, oh, and then they'd be like, how'd you get them? Like, I'm like, I just was able to get them online, and they were really hard to get. The white ones, I never saw anybody in school with the white ones. Eventually, people got the all blacks, but did you guys ever have like the middle?
No, I've never.
No.
I've had some. I haven't had 350s, but I've had like the 700s, and I've had like some 500s.
I remember the first ones.
Yeah.
The original Yeezys.
Yeah. Oh, the Nike ones?
Was it the red, all red?
Yeah, the Red
They look
Octobers?
like cake batter. I'm sorry, like I don't know. I can't get over them and how they look. They're just it's really funny to me. But
Now we've discussed new releases, most popular, best-selling, and most overrated sneakers, and lastly were the effects of sneaker and pop culture and music. Before we wrap things up, we just want to share a bit of sneakers that we are wearing right now, as discussed earlier.
Yeah.
So I'd go first. So what I have right now is the 2021 Ultra Boost Adidas, and they've been with me ever since it was released first back in 2021, and I still haven't keep them not just because of it's my only white shoes, but they're really comfortable, especially if you just want to walk around and you want to have a go-to shoes. 2021 Adidas Ultra Boost. Next one.
What I got is the Nike 2024 Jordan 1 Mocha Lows.
Oh, okay.
The only reason I bought them is just because they resembled the Travis Scott collaboration that I just want so badly, but never could afford because I'm not trying to spend $1,200 on a shoe. I spent $150 instead. And what do you guys have?
On feet, I have the Nike, the Air Max 98 NYC La Mezcas. This was like a collab between a girl, I forgot her name, from New York, and she designed this shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe she was from the Bronx because it has the on this tag right here, it has the coordinates to the Bronx right here.
Right.
You can see. So that's what I have on feet today.
Finally,
I
right?
have nothing special. It's just the Nike Jordan Air Jordan 1s. They're the SBs, and these are Giant brands. They released these on Jordan. Well, I got them on the Go app, so that's like my go-to. It's really easy to get stuff off of there. But they released these, I think, the 2018 season, like right before the 2018 season. Brandon Crawford, actually, fun fact, he was the first person to actually showcase these. He was very into like streetwear and like street fashion. And if you followed like the Giants, Brandon Crawford always had. He was known as like the heat on his feet, type of player. The way they used to describe like athletes. He was known for having like he had one year he had the cheetah print cleats, which was like no one had ever seen that before. But these are the ones I have. I wear these a lot, but yeah.
And that will do it on a sneaker podcast. Once again, my name is Josh Mojica, your moderator, alongside my group mates Emmanuel Blue, Ryan Irwin, and Jared Burkett, saying so long.
If you are interested in a career in sports broadcasting, whether you're commentating a live game
or hosting your own TV show,
for more information, contact Greg Poff. That's me at solano.edu.
we hope to see you here next semester. And remember,
It's more than just sports. It's an education.